you're wired for that, or fulfillment is, right? So you need to figure out what's already been given to you, that team kind of thing that you might have going on, that bond. You need to develop that when you get out. Otherwise, if you isolate yourself, I'll tell you, isolation equals to depression. So you need to be willing to go out there and connect with people and create that camaraderie, okay? So let's move over here to, what do you guys have, marketing?
Marketing. All right, so for group 2, we had marketing. The first thing we talked about was marketing professionalism. Since we're all in the military, I think one of the first things you go when you go see recruiters, of course, how professional they are. And that's with any department of service you work in, whether you're going to get assistance with supplies, whether you are trying to get equipment for your job, whether you're going to see medical, whether you're going to see financial specialists. Professionalism is the most important thing. So the way we market ourselves is about how professional we are. That's how we stand out. That's how we welcome people in. Adaptability, of course. So, and that's another way you market yourself about how adaptable you are. If things come up and you're able to get things done, of course you want to be able to adapt to overcome it. So in the military, of course, they always try to say, well, if this happens, if your wife gets pregnant, okay, well, we can adapt around it. We can give you time to be there for her. If you're sick, well, we can adapt to you being down. We can have more people take on your role and responsibilities.
So we also had tactical acquiredness. So it translates well into the civilian sector because, you know, you're constantly given problems that are popping up all the time. Like, you know, you have a set plan, like, okay, we need to get this building done in 3 months. But, you know, rainstorms come in, hurricane comes in, you know, destroys your work site. Then you really got to kind of acquire a new plan and make a new plan. It's like, well, you know, all our lumber was, you know, completely destroyed, all the materials are gone. You know, how are we going to get this back and not break the budget that we were given from, you know, from the boss? So the little things that you do every day in your shops and whatnot, it's like, you know, we're missing a part that we really need to get this, you know, this jet up or this GSE up or whatever, and, you know, you have to beg, borrow, or steal from, you know, another unit. It's like, hey, like, what can we give you? What can we do for you guys to help us out with, you know, our issue? And then confidence. You know, like, whenever you first get to your unit, you know, you're kind of timid, you're kind of shy. I know that's not really everyone's personality, but 9 times out of 10, when a new check-in comes in, you know, they're real quiet, real reserved, because they don't know what's going on. You know, it's like, it's a whole new world to them. Most of them never left their hometown, and if they have, you know, it's just on vacation. You know, they don't have to do public speaking like in this kind of scenario. But as you start growing up in the Marine Corps, and, you know, you start taking more courses, more classes, you start going to detachments and whatnot, you start getting more responsibilities. You'd be surprised with, you know, just taking a maintenance meeting in the morning and afternoon, like how much of a confidence boost that gives you. And that really translates well to the civilian sector because, you know, you're going to be put in meetings a lot. You're going to be talking to your bosses about what you're doing on a daily basis, how projects are coming along, things of that nature. So it really makes you stand out from people that are timid and that are shy and they can't really communicate themselves properly.
Cool. The next thing was leadership abilities. Of course, with marketing, leadership is very important, and being involved in the military, leadership is something that happens over time. Whether you're E1 to, you know, O10, at some point you become a leader. You develop that leadership role. Sometimes it's given to you. Sometimes you take that role of responsibility on your own. Being able to lead people. I've always been told that leaders aren't created; they're born. But you can develop leadership abilities. And not only can you use that in your professional life, you can also use that in your personal life. So of course with marketing, you want to be able to take that leadership ability and apply it as much as you can. So
with some of the things that you guys are saying, one big thing that stands out to me is like, you need to make yourself stand out, right? Yeah. You do things that make yourself stand out. You do things that make you more memorable. You talked about like confidence being one of those things. So in this room right now, there's close to 50 of you guys in this room. Some of you guys I'll remember. I'll remember forever, some of you guys. Some of you guys, I will not remember you at all. And the reason is because you made it that way. You didn't make yourself memorable. If you hide in a room and you don't make yourself memorable, that never serves you, ever in your life. You go on to college after this, my greatest advice is that you make yourself known in the classroom, that you connect with that professor, whoever it is there. Because you need references, you need people in the future. It does not serve you ever to hide in a room. So, it doesn't serve you even like going into an interview and not doing things that make you yourself memorable and standing out, right? So the tips and strategies that we're going to learn and we're going through, it's very important, and it's very important that you don't isolate yourself. Because not only you're not gonna be memorable and that you're not gonna create success in your life, you're probably also gonna be very depressed in your life. Okay.
Another one for marketing, of course, unity. Unity is very important. There's no job on this planet you can do without someone else's help. You have to be unified with other people to not only grow it yourself but grow in the company. Of course, with unity, that's how tasks get done. If it's simple as cleaning the floor, fixing a part on the jet, seeing a patient, you are required to work with someone else and have that cohesiveness, that unity to get the job done. If you're bickering amongst each other, you can't get a task done. You always have some form of a negative ripple effect. So of course, when it comes to marketing, unity is very important. You need to be able to show that I'm able to work with other people to get a task done, whether I like you or not.
Yeah,
So, of course, unity.
so employers want to know, how do you work well with the team? How have you led and how have you made things better? You guys all have stories. Doesn't matter what it is that you've done, even if you're going to a completely different field. You have stories about that. Working well with the team, being adaptable, handling stress, right? Making things better. You need to remember those kinds of stories.
So another big thing for marketing yourself is being part of an organization. It kind of ties into unity a little bit, and it also ties into confidence. But you are part of a bigger picture. You know, it's not just what you're doing right here. You know, you're not just putting a plan together. That plan is going to be used to build a house, build a school, build a welfare community. Putting yourself in that organization not only put yourself out there for others to see your abilities and your skills and your determination, it also helps build the organization that you're a part of. Being part of a community is a big thing. You know, like she said, it's, you know, if you're always by yourself, you're going to be depressed. You're not going to want to go to work. And then when you do go to work, it's not always going to produce the best results. So being in that community environment really does, and playing well with others really does help market you for, you know, for a big corporation.
So I like what you said about the big picture. So you need to think about when it comes to your guys' work and what you're currently doing. Some of you guys are like, this is dumb. I do some stupid stuff. I just click buttons or I do whatever it is that you do. But think about the greater picture and how can you communicate that story. Like, if you didn't do what you did, who would be impacted by that? What could be at stake if you didn't do what you did? As meaningless as you might think it is. Right? And then tell that story and be like, see, if I didn't do this work, then we wouldn't have these results. You know? Okay.
And then patience. We always have that new check-in that just does not understand something, and it's your job to help guide them and help them understand. And that also is going to happen in the civilian world. You're always going to have that one guy or that one girl that just doesn't really quite grasp the situation or grasp what she's supposed to do. And you really got to take the time out of your day to help guide them and help focus them and help build not only them but yourself as well. Because at the end of the day, you can be the top of your little organization or your little center, but you can't do everything on your own. You know, you're gonna have to help guide and mentor your subordinates and your coworkers, and sometimes even your higher ups. Like, they're not always gonna understand everything the way you understand things. So having patience and not jumping to conclusions or getting angry or frustrated, it's not going to help you get your task accomplished, and it's not going to help you progress your career in any way.
So you were talking about stories about like how you guided and mentored. So all of you guys should have stories about how you supervise something, right? So that could be a bullet statement underneath your resume. Supervised, mentored, guided, instructed, those kind of keywords. You have those stories in your mind, right? Moving things that you've done. All right, you guys have anything else for us?
No.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, thanks guys. Give a round of applause. First group that did not bring up physical fitness. So you guys are evaluated, right, on your physical fitness. Does that play a role in you getting promoted?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So in the civilian sector, how do you think that plays? Physical fitness.
If you have a
More
police job,
physical appearance more than fitness.
Yeah.
Some jobs, yeah, police job, your physical fitness
police
are evaluated.
firefighters,
And then what do you say, Josh?
So for the most part, it would be your physical appearance, which is tied into fitness, but not like the actual
That's what I was
performance
gonna
on
get at.
the track. and
Yeah, is that where you're going?
One thing I was gonna, that kind of stems from that physical fitness, physical training for us, is that mental capability. Like,
Yeah.
nobody likes to run 3 miles, but we know how to mentally get through it. Well, the same thing at work, if you've had a long shift and there's one more job that needs to get done, you mentally may not want to do it, but you know you can. So you're like, yeah, I'll stay back an extra hour and do that. And to us, it doesn't seem like a lot, but to a supervisor, they can be like, he stayed late to do this job, so obviously he cares. When you do that enough and it gets noticed and then, oh, promotion just came up, well, this guy stayed behind every time we've asked somebody to. And it's that mental,
It's the grittiness,
focus
right?
and that
You're
drive
showing,
that you have.
displaying that by your physical fitness.
Mhm.
You're willing to overcome the challenge.
Where's your
Right.
physical capability? A lot of studio with that is pretty heavy.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if you're
sure.
physically capable and you're able to like lift it out of the jet yourself, or do the job yourself, whereas you can't lift it, you have to have the second person, which takes them away from someone making you.
Right, so, okay, so another thing why it transfers over, so you know that we're all judgy, right? We judge people by how people are, right? You know that. So that transfers over, maybe you might not be getting evaluated on your physical fitness score, someone's going to top of it. But do you think that someone's judging you by based on how you look?
Yes.
Hell yeah, they are. So how long do you think it takes for someone to judge you within, like, how long are they gonna judge you? Like, how many seconds?
5 seconds.
2 seconds, yeah, 2 seconds, 2 seconds. So you walk in, that's why it's so important that you get the dress down, you get the look down, because if, it's really hard to come back from a bad first impression. And there's other things that you do need to be mindful of. If you were packing a lot of extra weight, what might someone judge you as?
That you're
Lazy.
Sloppy, lazy, you don't care about yourself, right, lack of discipline, you're not gritty. And that might not be the truth, but that's the first judgment that might come to someone's mind. So you do need to be mindful of that. And we've talked about how it might be, I guess, more of the truth in the sense that if someone is physically fit, or let's say they get up at 4:30 in the morning to go work out before they start their day, what does it tell you about that person?
Drive, desire.
Yeah, drive, dedication,
focus.
yeah, exactly. Is that someone you'd want on your team? If someone told you a story about that, like, yeah, I get up every day at 4:30 because I wanna start my day off right, I wanna take care of my body so I can show up better and I can serve better, would you like that person on your team? Someone like that? Now, what if someone said that they roll in 5 minutes before they have to get to work, and they're showing up, McDonald's, they eat McDonald's in the car? They don't really, I thought you guys were like, that was me. But that's okay. But yeah, just, you need to be mindful of that people are gonna be judging you based on how you look.
Also, someone who works out like really early in the morning tends to be the person that takes care of all their personal problems
Yeah.
right after their workout, and now they can focus on work and not like they're not really clouded with anything else.
So it's someone that is very intentional with their lives.
So
That's what that
their
means.
time management skills are very well put.
Yep. So you know how they say you're the average of the most, like, the 5 people that you hang out with, right? So some of you guys need to check that out. Like, people that you're hanging out with, research shows that people that hang out together tend to make about the same amount of money as each other. They tend to have the same habits as each other. So you need to figure out, like, do I actually want to be like these people that I'm hanging out with? Like, who do I want to be? So, and you start from that place and develop habits from who you want to be. Someone who is successful, in my eyes, as living a good quality life, like something that they're proud of, like that they're proud of, doing what they're able, wanting to do, with the freedom, that's my definition of success. They're very intentional with their lives and their time. So they make sure that they surround themselves with people that are gonna help them grow and develop. So, for example, for me, I personally like to get up really early and work out, because another thing is, like, even going to the gym that early, people that you're surrounded with at that time of the day, they're a different kind of people than the normal people that are out there in the world, right? We know energy is contagious, it's infectious. So I wanna be around people that are like that. So creating my life, designing it from who I wanna be, not my current situation. That's what you need to be thinking about.
I agree. I actually had a counselor once tell me that, and I was, at first I thought like what he was saying was kind of crazy. Like, okay, that doesn't make sense. Why would I want to like change the people that I hang around with? But the moment I did it, it changed a lot. It changed the way I dress. It changed all of my my habits and my hobbies. It changed my perspective on life. It changed the way I just looked at the world in general. I went from looking at the world in a very small bowl to like a open picture. I can see things completely different now.
I love how you say that, because when we looked at this scale, guys, I want you guys to think, you've seen Hunger Games, right? People here, Hunger Games? Remember how, like, in Hunger Games, they, like, climb up the tree, right? To, like, they feel like they're safer up there, that's why they climb up on the tree and they hang out up there and watch people out below. I want you guys to think about this in life, like, so the higher you are up, the more you're able to see opportunity, the more you feel less afraid. When you're at the lower level, you feel like you're at the effective life, and you feel like maybe you gotta fight back. Maybe you do need to hide, right? That's how you're perceiving the world. You're not able to see opportunity, everything that's available to you, until you get to this higher level, right? So it's kind of like if you spend time with people, and now you're like, wow, all these opportunities available to me. I never seen this before.
There's, like, I didn't have to change who I was. I'm still the same person.
Right.
I have the same personality, just that I put myself in the position now. I still have the same friends that I grew up with, but I also have friends that are like in higher positions. Like, so I have friends that own business, I have friends that are doctors and lawyers. So me being around those people open minded to be like, okay, I don't have to stay at the bottom level. I can be on the same level of success
Right.
by just feeding out their energy and out their blueprint.
And Dion?
So what would that say about people that have multiple social circles, like where they have like a group of people they'll hang out with for financial talks, another group for just being rowdy, another group for just doing whatever. Is it okay to stay in the middle of those circles, or to just try to stick to one and have others as every now and again leisure?
Yeah, so, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you intentionally designing your life, but you are gonna be most likely to spend the most time. So for me, then I'm strategically spending less time with certain people that maybe I don't really necessarily wanna be like, but we grew up together, we're great friends, you know, we have history together. But I'm not spending every day with them because they're negative as hell, and I don't wanna feel like that, I don't wanna look at life that way. Right, so you gotta guard your energy and your time, figure out what works best for you.
I feel like that diversity of friends makes it easier for you to be more diverse in life. I think about it, if you only hang out with people that skateboard, of course you only be interested in things that's dealing with skateboarding. You get a friend that's into, I don't know, welding. Then you're like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then it takes you in a whole nother area. So the more diverse your circle is, the more diverse a person you are. The more interesting things you are, is more diverse.
So it's about like connecting with, so guys, the number one tip, you know, like people who are like that. Let me give you a scenario. So let's say who buys stuff off of Amazon, right? Has anyone ever bought anything on Amazon to like fix something with? Anyone?
Yep.
So Mitch, what did you buy last?
I bought a fan for my laptop, because my laptop fan went out, so I had to replace it.
Okay, so when you were searching for that fan, what did you look for? How
Typed
did you
in,
know to buy it?
I typed in the model number of my laptop and said fan.
Did you look at reviews?
Yeah, I looked at a couple of reviews and it was mostly just like, yep, it worked. Fit.
And it was what you're on,
It was the right
okay, you
part,
were like,
yeah.
okay, for me, right?
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is like, as soon as you see, you guys do this when you're buying things, you will look at reviews. And if somebody is just like you, if they're like, I was buying this fan for my laptop of XYZ, whatever model, and it worked great. You're like, person like me, worked great for them, and the issue that I had, get the laptop. No more questions about it. Think about it when you look at a food, like reviews from a restaurant, right? You look and you see like if someone likes the same kind of food as you, like let's say I'm a vegetarian, I look up and the vegetarian's like, I'm a vegetarian, I love this place, my place, go in there. Don't need to know that much more information. That's how we make decisions, right? So when you know that when it comes to marketing, you know this commonality thing is so important. When it comes to marketing, I just wish, like, think about this, some of you guys that want to do business, think about it this way. So, I wish more people understood this, the art of storytelling and representing commonalities and understanding that that's how we make decisions. So, I'll give you an example. Last year, around this time, I had gotten in an accident. I completely tore my ACL, ripped it completely apart, ACL, cracked my knee, all this stuff. And I went to go see a surgeon, and he was like, surgery, first thing he said. But he didn't do his work with building the relationship with me or anything like that. And I was like, no. But had he, so I left, I chose not to get surgery. And I thought about what would he have had to say to me for me to get surgery? All he would have had to tell me was, so how old are you? And I'm gonna be 30 tomorrow, by the way, tomorrow's my birthday. So anyways, if he was like, oh, the 30-year-old came in here, just similar to you. She runs, she does yoga. What are you guys smiling about? Do you think I was 30?
What's that?
Did you think I was 30?
No, that's not what you were.
Oh.
She wants to get you a cake.
Oh.
I don't know.
I was making you go, but you had to end there.
Okay, anyways, so, where was I going with that? So had he just said that someone just like, he could have found a little more information about me and said like, oh, you like yoga, you like to run, you're 30 years old. Someone like you actually just came in recently, chose to get the surgery, and they're doing great. I've been like, sign me up. Someone just like me. So the reason why we're like this is because we were wired this way from back in the day, from like when we were like in caveman days, right? So when we used to even like, when we used to do hunter-gatherers, traveling in groups, We have the same human body we did back then. We are wired for survival. We know that our survival, we're more likely to survive when we surround ourselves with other people, right? We feel safer. We're more likely to die and get ate by dinosaurs or whatever you want to call them, lions, right? If you're on your own, right? So, being around people that are like us, we feel safer with them. We feel like we can predict their behavior. So subconsciously, we make decisions based on if we see someone that is like us, we feel like we want them on our team, right? So that's why it's so important when it comes to interviewing that you connect with the person that's interviewing you and you point out your commonalities that you guys have. Because they're going to be more likely and willing to want to work with you and hire you. So I've seen this play out so many times. I've used it in so much, like helping people find jobs and just pointing out commonalities between people. And they will hire someone, again, that they like. We all know that. They're going to hire someone they like over someone that has experience at the end of the day. Because they're going to have to work with them. So I'll give you an example. I was recruited for a role where they had found that on my LinkedIn, it said that I had my yoga teacher training there. Normally I wouldn't put that on my job actual resume, but it was on my LinkedIn. So someone had found it. She was the CEO of an organization. She contacted me, and she actually had told me the reason why she contacted me was because she saw that we had that in common. She was also a yoga person. She ended up hiring me, and I ended up getting that job over just something like that. One little thing that we had in common. I see this play out all the time, and I can tell you guys it's because subconsciously how we're wired, and you see yourself making decisions that way, right? Buying things. So if you get one tip down, it's find something that you have in common with the person who's interviewing you and point it out repeatedly. Okay? All right. So in the back there. Sorry, Brendan, I'm meeting you forever. Tell us about your.
Alright. 99.9% serious. So treat people like equals. You can't tell via NCO telling PFC dumbass that he's a dumbass no more. So you gotta talk to people with respect in your job. No more crayons, don't take that serious.
No more trans.
I guess that goes. Do you know that joke? Like,
No, I don't get it.
oh, alright. Somebody want to
Explain.
Marines eat crabs, because we're dumb.
Every other brand.
One thing
Oh.
for
Like that, no crazy humor. Basically, Marines have their own sense of humor. That might not work in a job. More responsibility for ourselves. That's pretty general. Your tone of voice. So, obviously, in boot camp, sometimes we raise our voice, talk to people in a like demanding way. That might not work out with somebody. They might even go to fucking HR and be like, oh, it sounds like he's threatening me. He might stab me. So.
I'm just laughing right now, picturing my mind, like someone like barking at someone younger, calling them to.
I've kind of been in this situation, not in like work related issues, but like just talking to somebody. They said I don't think I have a deep voice, but people say I have a deep voice, and sometimes I raise my voice not knowing, and they took it like offensive. I mean, excuse my language, I thought they were just being a little pussy, but yeah. So, no counselings, you will get fired, so you gotta not go to work late or not do something you're definitely supposed to do and think you could kinda get away with it, or, oh, my NCO's probably just gonna blast me a little bit, or my staff sergeant's probably just gonna tell me something, but I'll be okay. Now you have to deal with a boss. The boss is gonna be like, look, this had to be done at this time, we just lost money, guess what? You're fired, get out of my office. So, that's a reality check. What did I say in the process? Dress code. We have our dress code, and I think it's good, like the way the Marine Corps teaches you about your appearance already, because grooming, all of that, we try to look professional. The only difference is you got to figure out how to like dress accordingly to your job. Some of you will do like things you don't really got to dress like in a suit and tie. You're gonna be doing like machinery stuff or whatever have you. But for the ones that are going into like corporate world and all of that, I guess it's like what she said, surround yourself around people, suit and tie people, see how they adapt to their surroundings, you know what I'm saying? Language, this was kind of like, don't say fuck all the time. It's pretty simple.
So you guys, so you get really good at what you practice. So that's the beginning. So some of you guys have been practicing swearing consistently, right? So you've gotten really good at it. So some people be mindful of going out and want to transition that, unless you're going to work in a environment where everybody swears. But just be mindful of that. I have a brother-in-law, guys, who literally probably says 4 swear words in one sentence every time. He also has a Facebook picture of this. So anyways, God bless him. But anyways, be mindful of like the image that you're giving off, and to some people, like swearing can be viewed as something that is like really trash, right? That's just some people's mindset. So just be mindful of that, and watch, because sometimes you don't even realize. I think for him, he doesn't even realize how often he swears because he's so used to doing it. But no, in the civilian sector, in a lot of places, it's not appropriate at all, and it'll get you sent to HR.
I did read an article though that people that say fuck a lot are actually smart. And a lot of-
I mean, I say
I really didn't read it.
fuck a lot, so I'm gonna go with that.
Watch what you say, instead of fuck, you say frickin'.
Or maybe just don't say it.
That's poop.
Self-motivation. You don't realize it, and you probably take it for granted. You actually got a lot of people around you that motivate you. That is not going to be the case when you get out. There's actually going to probably be a lot of people that bring you down and are trying to take your position if you do have a high position, and they'll find ways to actually demotivate you and, you know, have their little stupid tactic of trying to bring you down so that they can get to your level. So, me personally, I think PT is a great little motivator. It's more strong than you think. And like interview stuff where you talk to yourself in the mirror, all those little things is like self-motivation. I think it's really important to stay motivated. No more SIQ shits. So
What is
yeah.
that?
Second quarter.
Just one day off.
So basically, if you're sick, you better really be sick, because you can't I mean you can, I guess, call the boss and be like, oh, I'm not feeling good today, da, da, da. They'll probably call you on your bullshit, and then they'll have like a whole persona of you, you know, being alive.
Not only that, it just messes with your pay, because
That's
it's a day not working,
Yeah, you're not
then I get paid.
Unless you get sick days, if you're with like, labor laws. I forgot what this is about. Who said labor laws? What was that about?
Labor laws, Marine Corps, you can work as much as they want you to. Granted, there's an hour limit, but there's not a day limit.
Compensated.
Know your worth. Bang.
I know you're like that.
So, we work, especially, we're in the same unit, 224. Let me just say, I feel bad for the maintainers. I'm not a maintainer. They work their asses off. It's way harder than I do when it comes to like time and all that, that's 12 on, 12 off. So, if you're in a job outside of this, and you know you're entitled to your overtime and all of that, you're not in the Marine Corps anymore. Go to their boss, be like, I worked overtime.
Okay, so how could you share, what would be a story that you could share that paints you in a positive light about you working a lot?
So, it was about 2 years ago, and we were working, and we had gotten into a place of where squadrons were demanding so much gear, and it gotten us to a point of where we were working 14, 15-hour days. People weren't even going home to shower because it just wasn't worth it. I don't know if you know where Ordnance is, but it's like a 30-minute drive on the other side of base.
Oh, wow.
So guys were just staying in their trucks and then getting up like 2 hours later and just going back to work. So we did that, and we were working every single weekend and doing that. And we did that for about 3 or 4 months. And it started burning people out. And then we eventually had to go to our higher ups and be like, look, there's guys throwing up blood.
Oh my gosh.
There's dudes not sleeping at night. Like, something's got to change, or guys are going to start dropping like flies.
So if you told a story about you working that much, what would an employer might think about that? That you handled that. You went through that. You're dedicated, you're a hard worker. You handle that. Most people aren't willing to work 8-hour days, right?
or take responsibility for other people's actions in a way. So it was second lieutenant. She decided to go on a range for a night shoot, and we gave her a laser for weapon. So we call it Tech-15. And she checked it out, and she was there till probably like 19, 20, and she came back and she checked it in without the Tech-15. And we asked where it was, and she said, "Oh, I already handed it in to you guys, like this and that." And she tried to make like this crazy story, and we had to wait like a good like 6 hours. So we didn't leave till like 2 in the morning
Oh, wow.
to look for this Tech-15, and it was on the range, on the ground.
So she lost it?
She lost it and she tried to blame it on us. So we worked 6 more hours looking for something she lost.
Okay. So what does that story tell you about him?
He was pissed.
That is his. What else?
Do what's needed.
He's pedal for his year, he's willing to stay as long as it takes to figure it out.
He has the patience to
In fact, we go to jail for that.
Oh, should take responsibility. All right, so that's a good point. We're gonna do this next, this little story thing. Once we get onto that, Brendan, what else you got for us?
Yeah, so, like I said, I work with the labor laws. Gotta skate more tactfully, so.
For real.
We all have our little hiding places where we kind of skate away.
So when you say you skate, you mean like the hiding areas where you like go and do stuff? right?
Bullshit.
Yeah,
Get away from
pretty
like.
much, yeah.
So you're just being strategic.
Exactly.
Yeah, I
So,
got it.
in a work environment, obviously you gotta, first you gotta know the people that you
Right.
can skate around. They might snitch on you and be like, oh, remember they did, something like that. So also, be aware of your surroundings with like, where you go to. Like, I feel like in a corporate world or a professional environment, the guy that's always like getting coffee, like 20,000 times, he's probably not even drinking coffee, but he's always over there like next to the coffee machine, not doing shit.
Yeah.
That's the skater in a professional work environment. So,
That's something to be mindful of, because I remember my old supervisor would always point out, when she didn't like staff, it was always people that she was like, well, they're always in the coffee room,
yeah.
right? And she viewed it as if you're always in the coffee room, then you must not be working. So be mindful of like that perception and find a better spot if you're gonna do that.
I'm not saying to skate all the time, but I'm just saying,
Right.
like, there's times where you got a lot going on in your head, you're like, I need a minute to myself, just do it tactically. Don't do it where it's like somebody has an edge on you and they're like, oh, I seen them like not doing shit and we had to do this or, you know, something like that, so.
Cool.
That was it.
Alright, thank you. You guys give a round of applause? Alright, so I'm gonna give you a break, your last break, and then we don't have much longer